What are the best ACCA free resources that you should be using to help pass your examinations first time? Well, make sure you hang around to the end of this free video or today, where we're going to walk and talk you through all the resources we would be recommending. But I'm going to introduce you to my guest who's joining us today. Moish, feel free to take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Moish Schmitz, chartered accountant. Recently passed all my ACCA exams. I currently work in practice, and I recently launched an Instagram page called Everyday Tax Tips, which just gives some reels, a bit of content about what you would be doing when you're in practice. It's all nice and dandy to see it in the syllabus, but just 90-second, 30-second bites of what you're actually going to be doing day to day for clients in practice. But yeah, feel free to hit me up on that. You can even just message me if you have any questions. 100% willing to answer anything.
Awesome. Fantastic. I'll put all the details in the description, guys. But what we're going to do now is get straight into it. If Moish had to go back, he passed all of his exams first time. What would be those free resources to help out a student who's watching today? So take it away. What's the first key area that you'd be focusing on?
Okay, so I would say you're going to have your exam question practice, you're going to have your mock exams, and you're going to have the syllabus when you're actually reading it. And those are, I feel like, the heavy learning. Very important. That's going to give you the bulk of your marks. If you're going to get 50, 60, maybe 40, 45 will come from those topics: the question practice, the mock exams, and the actual syllabus. So we don't need to talk much about that because I'm sure James talks a lot about that in other videos. But in this video, I wanted to talk about perhaps the lighter kinds of learning. And there's a few of them. So one thing I would say is the examiner's articles. So if you go on the ACCA website, for each exam, there's a bunch of articles, 20, 30, 40 articles for each exam. And it's a bit lighter. And it's written in the way of an article. It's not like, this is this is that. It's very much pleasant to read. And the reason I say that is because it doesn't need to be when you're at desk, when you're actually studying under your lab. It doesn't need to be like that. It could be when you're laying in bed. It could be when you're on a commute on the way to work, on the train, on the bus. It's kind of a lighter level study. And I would say go through most of them for each exam. But don't just read it through quickly. Read it through so you understand it. And the way I would prove to myself that I understood it is, I'm not sure if you heard of this, James, but after I'd read the article, I'd go on WhatsApp. And on WhatsApp, I have my own name as a contact, and I would send a voice recording to myself. And that voice recording would just be a summary of the article. Best if you could do that recording without looking back at the article. That really, really shows yourself that you've understood the article, and it should be 1 or 2 minutes. And will you ever go back to listen to the recording? Probably not. You don't need to. But the fact that you've read the article, done a recording, sent it to yourself means you understood that topic. Sometimes, this is maybe weird, but like the night or two before the exam when I'm falling asleep in bed with earphones in, I might just listen through all my WhatsApp recordings to myself, and it brings back, oh, that article, article. Yeah. Anyway, that's the first kind of, I would say, lighter kind of learning, which you do when you've got a few minutes here, a few minutes there. Really, really important.
Cool. And then I think those technical articles are brilliant as well, written by the examiners. They're free on there. And I used to sort of tactically try and pick some of them where if I went through a tricky topic, didn't feel like I quite got it going through the textbook or listening to the online lecture, straight to the technical article, and then just got it from a different perspective on there. Makes a world of difference. But what are the other key free resource areas that you used to use to help pass your exams?
Okay, so another one, the second one, which perhaps is the most important, is examiners' reports. For those of you who don't know, every time, or I think at least twice a year, when there's an exam, the examiners, the people which actually marked your exams, will write up what students done well, what students didn't do so well, and it's a solid sometimes it's many pages, but really, really useful. They give tips on what gets half a mark, what gets you a full mark, and often they say, and they're not shy about this, they often say that the next exam will likely be about things which they spoke about in the last examiner's report. I didn't make this up, James. This is true, right? They say that.
Yeah. They tell you also where students go wrong as well. They give you examples. They even write it in a sort of talkative language on there.
Exactly. It's the only opportunity where your examiner is giving you a tip ahead of the next exam what's one of the big questions going to be about? And often I found it is the case. And what I would say is, don't just read the last one. Read the last three or four. I've mentioned to James before, where the 4 days before the exam, I'll do one mock a day. What I would also do is to just read one of their last four examiners reports each days. Because if you've read through the examiner's report in full, in detail, one a day, 4 days, which means you've read basically the last 2 years worth,
Yeah.
because they do 1 in 6 months, the last 2 years worth of what the examiners are saying about how students, kind of behave or respond during these exams. And it's really, really important. And I've seen a lot of success from it.
Wicked. That's awesome. Yeah. So we've got technical articles, examiner's report. What's the next area that springs to your mind for free resources that a student just has to use?
Okay, so we're kind of going in the direction of what gets lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
And this is now casual videos which you may see online, usually YouTube. And these comes from either actual institutions like Kaplan, DPP, but more importantly comes from just freelancers, people like James. There are other people which take their time to kind of go through a topic in a very understandable way, not in the way where you see it in black and white on the syllabus, not from your professor in university with a suit and tie. Very, very casual. Sometimes they'll go through questions. Sometimes they'll just say, you know what, a lot of students struggle with this topic. Let me go through it. And it's something you can do again, not when you're by your desk, not when you're, having that heavy, deep-minded focus on question practice. It's something you do when you're on a commute. It's something you do when you're laying in bed. It's something you do when I want to break between this question and that question. Something which, if you're on YouTube, but you're not wasting your time, because you don't know when a point which he said is going to help you. Sometimes you can have professionals, lecturers, or you can have books which are reviewed by the examiners. But you can have one person on YouTube which explained it just the way your brain needs to understand it, and that's a big game changer. I would say throughout all of my exams, I've kind of gone on YouTube just to search up the topics, when I'm having when I want to break from the question practice. And that's how I found James. It's a really cool thing. Really cool thing that you're doing, James. It's a huge help, more than people appreciate. It's something, as I said, it's sometimes somebody could explain something to you in a way which your brain wants to hear it, and it suddenly clicks.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I started up the channel. I used to go from house to house with all my books, and I thought, oh, one day I'll just start posting this online. And then here we are today for it. So if you enjoy the content, guys, feel free to subscribe, leave us a comment below. But we'll be doing more videos on it. But what other areas for free resources comes to mind from the YouTube videos? What we can touch on later on about the free resources on ACCA's website. But is there anything else that you think, oh, that would really help a student out?
Right. So one more thing I would say, and this gets even lighter in terms of the casual learning, and that is there are some websites, online platforms where they kind of give you very light multiple choice questions. And we all know the first few examinations with ACCA are multiple choice, but even for the later, the heavy guns, the big examinations, they just give you these multiple choice questions, and some of them are tough and some of them are pretty easy. But again, it's something which when you're not feeling that you want to tackle a big question, when you've tackled a big question in the morning and now you want to have a break, again, I'll say it again, when you're on a commute or you're sitting, waiting for an appointment, at the doctor's office, something you quickly go on online, and it's so cool. I mean, the one I'm talking about is accountancy, and you spell it with a cow, as in the animal, COW, accountancy. And what you can do over there is you go on the website, you choose which exam you're doing. So let's say you're doing taxation. You then choose, okay, which topics do you want to be examined on? You then choose how long do you have? Do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 15 minutes? 20 minutes, half an hour? Then they spit at you questions, 20 questions, 30 questions. And obviously they, afterwards they'll give you your mark and they'll tell you if where you went wrong, and they'll give you the correct answer. And it's really cool because it's a real kind of light learning. You're not going to get a headache from it. You're not going to be at your desk. You can access it on your phone wherever you are. And you shout out to, I don't know them, but they've been a massive help.
Oh, wicked. Oh, I can definitely put their details down below as well, so students can check out the website on there. And I think that the last bit area to really link into is those free ACCA resources on the website, on the study hub. Did you make the most of those? Just looking, there's some like little examiner paragraphs, Q&As. How much did you use those?
Yeah, so it's irresponsible, in my opinion, it's irresponsible not to have a look at that because you know the same people giving you this information are the same people which are actually examining you, and they want you to use their resources. They don't want to write up stuff for nobody to use it. So they're gonna incorporate kind of their exams within, you know, these articles, these resources they're giving you. And if you go on, as James said, if you go on the ACCA website and you choose your exam, you'll find videos, you'll find articles, as we mentioned, examiners reports, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. And these are all extra free stuff.
Hmm.
Besides for, you know, using your provider like Kaplan, BPP, whoever you're using, these are extra stuff. And as I said, I think it's just the responsible thing to do is just have a look what they're offering, because the likelihood is they want you to read that. And if they want you to read it, they're going to examine you on it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Even just they have some great PDFs on there. So if you're into the strategic professional exams, you get 20 marks on professional skills now. And they've got a nice little PDF, 2 or 3 pages, and it just tells you the 4 different areas, what they're looking for, professional acumen on these sort of things, communication on there. And you go, this is 20 marks on my exam, and it's free that I have to actually embed into my answer, just as an example on there for it. I mean, the other thing is just it shows on there the pass rates, and it shows you things that students have done incorrectly before, and how it can help you.
Yeah, yeah. I think people have to understand that it's not examiner versus me. They haven't got a personal vendetta against the students. They
Mm,
want you to pass, but they want you to pass and feel, you know what, I studied hard and I know the material. So they're giving you the resources to get there. You know, they don't want one sitting where there's like a 10% pass rate. You know,
mm.
they want people to pass. They give you the resources, and it's up to you to say, you know what, let me make the time to read up as much as I can before the exams.
Absolutely spot on. And the last free resource we have to touch on, because you've probably read it online and I get comments on it. James, how many past papers should I do on there? And also the free resource of the CBE platform. You can go on it, have a play around with it, do some of the mock papers, specimen exams. They are paramount in my eyes, that you should be doing all of them as a fundamental. It's even scrambling my mind when I'm thinking about this, because I get messages, oh James, can I just do one past paper and I'll be fine? I mean, Moish, what do you think to the free past papers, the CBE? How did that help you to prepare?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be caught in a situation where you go into the exam room and you're not really sure how to use the software.
Mm,
And that's just like you've got enough things to worry about.
yeah.
You don't want to be like, oh, did the exam start already? Did the countdown start already? Or
Mm,
how do I finish? You don't want to be thinking about that. There's enough things to think about in the exam. Things. It could be somebody next to you just typing really loudly. Or during one of my exams, the backspace button on my keyboard didn't work. And I was, pounding it, and it wasn't going back, and I had to replace it. It was only a couple minutes, and I didn't like apply for mitigating circumstances
mm,
because I thought 2, 3 minutes it wouldn't make a difference, and thankfully I passed. But there's enough things to worry about in the
yeah.
exam. You don't want to, you want to be used to the CBE platform. You want to be as comfortable and as relaxed as possible. And so definitely, I would suggest use the CBE, look at past papers, and all the other good stuff.
Oh, 100%. And just to reiterate on that, every exam is different. And the other key thing, which some students learn too late, is that some of their exam is marked by a computer. It's all on the software that it just does it for you. But then it tends to be in section C, especially of the applied skills papers, taxation, on their financial reporting. It's marked by a person. So you've got to learn on the CB platform how to lay out an income statement, balance sheet. In the tax exam, you've got to learn how to lay out on the CBE platform an income statement, corporation tax comp on there. And then you've also got the worksheet as well. And all these little things of going from one to the other, back to the scenario. If you don't apply back to the scenario, the chances of you passing are next to none on there, because you have to in the real exam. So all these little things, as you're saying, Moish, I completely agree with you, because it's time pressured enough. And if you're wasting 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, you just haven't got time for it in the exam.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe you mentioned this in one of your videos. Like, the examiners are sitting and marking all the papers. You spend 3 hours on the paper. They're not spending 3 hours marking your exam. They're spending 10, 15 minutes perhaps marking your exam. You want your answers to be easy, neatly written, space between each paragraph. You want to make it easier for them to give you the
Yeah.
mark. And just preparing and exam practice is the answer.
Oh, completely agree. I think I touched in a recent video. I just went, imagine your script is the last script of a marker on a Friday afternoon, and this is it, where yours has to be just pristine. You can see all your workings, give them some nice headings, a bit of narrative to say where you got this figure from. So you're helping yourself out there for working marks, carried forward marks. If it's a 5 mark discursive question, you've got 5 nice little paragraphs. And all these little exam technique tips are what you should be using the free CBE platform for. And then all the tips on the ACCA free study hub and the free articles as well.
100%.
Yes. I mean, are there any other final tips, Waish, that you just got to get on record for free stuff or final bits of advice that could help a student get into that 50+ mark?
Yeah, I'll say it again. I think I mentioned this to you in another video, James. It's all a game, not in a condescending way, in a way where you have to prepare yourself. You've been there many times, and because you've been there many times, you're going to do a great job. Why have you been there many times? Because you've done a mock the day before the exam. You've done a mock the day before that, and the day before that, and now it's just another mock. And you've done your mocks in exam conditions, and it's just the same thing. You've done well then, you're going to do well now, and that's that.
Rock and roll. And the mocks are free on ACCA's practice platform as well. So make the most of it, guys. Leave us a comment below how you're getting on with your studies, and we'll see you in another video soon. So best of luck for your exam. Thank you very much.
Best of luck.